Welcome back to another episode of the Skate Escape. I'm your host, Malcolm Watson. Recently I was sitting on my Lincoln and I started thinking, at what point in the game did skateboarding transition from a profession where people could thrive in this business? You had professionals making a salary, you had amateurs getting paid to be with board sponsors paying them, clothing sponsors paying them, as well as skate shops paying them. And the only conclusion that I could come to firsthand is somewhere around the early 90s, you had this transition in skateboarding where shops went from actually having their own t-shirts, which was fine, and their own apparel, to all of a sudden having shop logo boards. And some of these shops went as far as to, as soon as you walk in, you would be greeted by a wall. At one particular shop in Los Angeles called Warning, which had the guy had about 3 to 4 shops from Paramount, California, all the way to downtown LA. You would walk in his shop and he had no less than 25 different Warning logo boards on the wall that sold at a discounted price, half the price of every professional board, which was at the back of the skate shop. Where if you didn't know any better, when you walked in, you would think these are the only boards that this shop sold. And at that point in time, for me, I just saw it being the beginning of the end. Another case was a shop, very popular shop called Pharmacy. At their Hollywood location, they would have $20 Saturdays where you could show up on a Saturday morning, line wrapped around the corner, skaters everywhere. They might get the Baker team to come out and whatnot, and they would have pharmacy boards, as many as they had on hand, selling for $20, 25 with grip tape. And I mean, at the end of the day, who could beat that? And skate brands can't compete. So slowly but surely, the brands went from having, you would have skate shops that actually made enough money to pay teams to come through, put on demos, and support the local skateboarding scene, put video parts together. Summertime meant traveling from state to state, city to city, and in some cases across the world, all in the name of skateboarding, to a point where skate shops no longer had that revenue and brands no longer even had the revenue to even support professional skateboarders. Yet, skateboarding is arguably bigger than ever. It's in the Olympics. There's a skate park in every city. You now have multi-million-dollar skate parks all across America. Stoner Plaza in Santa Monica, that's a multi-million-dollar skate park. Canada, they have a multi-million-dollar skate park. And so the scene is there, but yet skateboarders aren't making any money. And I don't know how we get back to a point where skate shops kind of lean back on selling their own merch. And it doesn't help with shops like Warning, where not only did they have their own boards, but they would mimic the popular brands. Like they had, the notorious Baker board, the Baker logo board, but it said Warning in that Baker font. Or they would have Creature, notorious logo board, Creature, but it would say Warning in the Creature font. And it makes it impossible for a brand to ultimately continue to help skateboarding grow when you're being undercut, kneecapped by the business that's kind of supposed to control cool and keep the lights on at these brands. I don't know where we go from here. I know it's going to take some unity, which is a major thing that's lacking in on all faucets. It would take skateboarders to come together. It would take skaters to actually stop settling for less, stop settling for board royalties. If it means whole teams quit at once, like has happened many times with Toy Machine, it happened with Enjoy, where the team jumped ship. And I mean, how can you blame them? Who's going to show up to work every day, put their body and life on the line, and not make one penny? You're going home to eat ramen, or you're dealing with a company that is telling you we'll make up for it next month, and you end up so many months in the rear that it's impossible to sustain that. But I think the first step in getting this thing back on track, getting this train on the proper track, is for shops to at least back off on selling shop boards. And if you won't back off, just sell them for the same price that you sell the professional boards. Make it an even playing field for all parties. And at the same time, for you shop owners and shop workers, you control cool. At the end of the day, you control what thrives in this skateboarding space. I've seen so many skate shops that preach this whole support skater owned, support skater operated brands. But when you walk in, once again, you see a wall full of Nike, Adidas, Converse, and Asics. And you got to ask, hey, where are the Lakai's at? Do you have any S? Do you have any America? And they don't support it, but yet they control cool. And yet they preach support skater owned and skater operated. So it's super hypocritical that you say that when you have these big box brands that ultimately are in this game for monetary purposes. And once they don't meet that bottom line of profit margin, they're going to first start cutting the team riders' pay. And next thing you know, they'll move on from skateboarding. And the fact that you have college athletes, the NCAA athletes can get paid now, they have a bigger incentive to just stop paying skateboarders and let's give it to these college guys and girls that are going to transition into the professional ranks. And even if they don't make it to the professional ranks, we'll just sign them on to us throughout their collegiate career and hope to turn a profit that way. And I remember so many people when S Footwear went out of business and Alien Workshop went out of business. So many people were upset and crying and making these heart-wrenching posts about it being their favorite brand. And oh my God, the XL shoe was my favorite. What am I going to do? And literally a year later, the brand comes back in business and they don't support it. They don't buy it. But yet they had these lengthy posts talking about how much it was their favorite brand and what are they going to do now? Well, I'll tell you what they did now. They just put some Nikes on and some Converse and kept it moving. So once again, you shop owners, you guys control cool. You dictate, I don't know if you know it or not, but you dictate what works in skateboarding. You pick the brands, just like you pick fashion of what you want to carry. You pick what brands you actually love and support. And when a kid walks through the door and is like, hey, what's the cool brand? That's when you pull, your Zero off the wall or your Primitive or any other brand that has a skateboarding team. You show them to that, you guide them to that brand right there, that board, and the rest is history. But you're not doing skateboarding a favor when the parents come in or the kid comes in and you immediately undercut the industry by handing them a shop board for half the price. Because best believe when they come back, they're going to grab another shop board and another one, and as DJ Khaled would say, another one. And at that point, it's over. Forget about it. They'd be hard pressed to go grab a professional board off the wall, especially when you have their friends and everyone in the area is riding those shop logo boards. It's over. You got the market. You might as well just put a team together, give someone a pro board, and lo and behold, you can do it and just give these guys royalties because that's what the big box companies are doing. So without digressing too much, skateboarders, you got to get it together, get it under control. Skate shops, you have to do a better job if we want to see this thing continue to grow and actually have professional skateboarders in the future that actually make money and have a livable wage. And ultimately, skate brands out there, if you have a team and you can't afford to pay these guys, do everyone a favor and just cease to exist with having a team. Just make your logo boards and call it a day. But don't have guys signed to your team where they're relying on royalties only, because you and I both know that royalty game is super inconsistent and no one can live off of, that for goodness sakes, you probably pressing up 100 boards. So, all right, there's $100 if you sell them all. But yet at the same time, you're pushing logo team boards. So get it together if we want to see this thing grow and make it for many Olympics and years to come. And on that note, this has been another episode of The Skate Escape. Hopefully you enjoy it. Catch me over at YouTube at The Skate Escape. And till next time, you know what to do. Keep those wheels rolling. Stay motivated, stay focused, and execute. Peace.